Okay, so this is the Hypervenom 1 Remake, or the Regen SE Special Edition. This is the Transform version. I'll get all into that in a little bit. Basically, it changes colors when it gets wet. Back in 2015, they had the Hypervenom Transform, which turned red instead of blue when your feet warmed the boot up. So that was pretty cool. I was originally supposed to get that pair. That's the last pair of Holy Grails I really want. Yes, I know they're Hypervenoms, and I say Hypervenoms are overrated, but the reason I say this is because I wanted that pair so bad when I learned they were dropping. I called soccer.com, got my order placed right when they dropped, put the credit card information, everything like that. A few days later, check in on the order, it's not the pair I wanted, so it ended up getting canceled. So since then, I've only got to watch other people have them and wear them and keep them in their collection. So maybe one day I'll get a pair, but still salty about that. This pair though was a little tricky to get on the drop. I just randomly happened to be on my computer at 9:55, a group chat I'm in saying, hey, it's gonna drop in 5 minutes on soccer.com. Popped up right away on soccer.com right at 10 o'clock, and I ended up getting lucky. The entire website crashed, so I wasn't even sure that I got them for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I got a confirmation email. So super cool there. Let's unbox these. All right, so the box here, it's got that really cool like crackle design that's on the boot. Some of this is kind of what you saw on the Hypervenom 2s. In fact, I have one here, and if you see kind of this like scale design, it's a bit sharper. And then on the Transform, it's a little bit more roundish, and then it gets sharper on the box. But let me open them here. Inside of the box, completely blue. This really nice icy colorway. The bottom of the boots here, you can see what the boot is supposed to look like when it's wet. So that's really cool here. It does come with a bag as well. I believe the original Transform did. And it kind of goes from black at the bottom, other side here. Goes from kind of like a black at the bottom to then the blue all the way up through the top. Now this boot does have the Hypervenom 3 Soleplate, and I really don't remember what my take is on the Hypervenom 3 Soleplate. I know it should always stay the same, but it's really good on grass. I like wearing it on grass. On turf, it's just really strange. You know, I've done it a lot on turf. I've worn the Hypervenom 3 a lot on turf. But that being said, having a mix of kind of bladed studs down the bottom here and then conical on the top, and then same with the rear, I don't know. It's okay, but the original Hypervenom Soleplate, you know, it's all conical here, 4 conical in the back, 6 conical in the front. This little kind of chevron shape here, which I found actually breaks off a lot. I believe one of my pairs is missing them. Oh, I guess not. I've broken them off before on a different pair of boots. So don't really care about that so much, but overall, it's just better for grass and for turf, and I've had really good experiences with the Hypervenom 1 in terms of its Soleplate. Now, obviously, when you wear it on a hot turf pitch and your boot's 15 years old, however old it is, it's gonna melt. That's just what happens. That being said, this boot is supposed to change color when it gets wet. So really, when I see pitches being the most wet, yeah, when it's rainy, sure, on a turf pitch, but really on a grass pitch is when your boot's gonna stay wet the entire time. So maybe that's why they kept it with an FG Soleplate instead of something more conical. Then again, I don't really know. Maybe they just have a ton of these molds left over, because even with the Flyknit Ultra here, this boot came out 2 or 3 years ago, and it has that kind of Hypervenom 3 Soleplate still. So I don't know why they're doing that, but if you can kind of think of, hey, we really want this boot to work when it's wet, then it makes sense making it FG, kind of want to keep people on FG surfaces more. The construction of the new Regen Hypervenoms, from what I've heard, these are almost exactly the same as the orange and black colorway. It feels pretty solid, you know. I like that feeling a bit more than I do with this OG pair. The OG pair here, if you look, if it focuses, I really hated how sharp this toe is. It seems like there's almost no room for your toes, and I don't know, that construction to me feels really wonky. Now, when comparing one of the later colorways internal structure to the original colorway internal structure of the OG Hypervenom 1, it's a lot more solid. The cutouts aren't as frequent as they are in the original one. They also have the same kind of like ribbing structure, and I'll try to get some photos to give you a better visual, but there's a lot more circle cutouts in the original colorway and some of the early colorways, and it's very similar to the Tiempo Legend 5, except the Tiempo Legend 5 is just a way better boot and a lot more solidly sound. But the new Regen matches the internal structure of the later colorways here. So it still has the same internal material from what I can see, and it still has some of the same cuts that kind of go down the inside, but it doesn't have those circular cutouts. As for the Nike skin here, it feels a little bit different than the OG pair and then the kind of my pair here. So these two original pairs of Hypervenoms here feel very like sticky-ish, kind of like grip knit in a sense, not that extreme, but very similar. And then this pair feels a bit more glossy, which makes sense because it's got that material that goes over top the boot here to make it change color. I believe the Heat Hypervenom Transform was very similar to ours, a lot more glossy, which again makes sense because you can't do that with the regular texture they use for Nike skin. So obviously this boot changes colors, right? I have some B-roll of it as well, but I'll do it here in real time. I forgot a towel, so that's really cool. But I'm just gonna get a little bit of water on my hand here, and then I'm gonna put it on the boot, and then I'll have to wipe my desk down later. But it should take about a second or two, and then you should see it change color here. So the material itself is actually a reversible hydrochromic ink. And you can kind of see now like the swoosh is being a bit more outlined. Now, I don't really know what that means. How this boot works, I believe, is this kind of material on the outside, when it gets wet, it becomes translucent, but I'm not entirely sure. A good friend of mine, Substance Football, he is actually a material scientist or material engineer. Either way, he's super, super smart. He's really technical when it comes to boots, probably knows the most about the materials of anybody I know. And I'm gonna link his video down below on how this actually works, because I would butcher it and can't explain it. So really check out his video. He'll be able to explain everything more. And if you're really interested in specs like that, that's the person to go to. But if we take a closer look here now, you know, I've kind of wet the boot, rubbed the water in a little bit, and you can see everything's outlined a little bit in the back here. There is that OG kind of like spider. If you can kind of see it there a little, kind of see it a little bit, but you know, overall pretty cool feature. I did find this dries really, really quickly. And I have seen too, it leaves the like weird marks on the boots. I don't know if that's just how they layered the ink on, if it wasn't smooth. It almost looked like these were dirty when I pulled them out of the box for the very first time when they arrived. So not really cool in that aspect, but I'm not gonna be super picky. Both of these boots have already been fully wet and then dried, so maybe that's just what happens over time with this material. Rubbing all of that water on the boot doesn't leave like any ink on my hands or anything, so I don't really know why that happens, but this is a pretty cool feature. I'd be really sick on a rainy day to have your boots look like this, I can't lie. I'm sure it would draw a lot of attention. I was a boot head growing up, so that's really why I wanted the Hypervenom Transform, the Heat one, if I'm being honest. I just want everybody to be like, wow, look at his boots, those are so cool, right? So similar thing you can do now. I don't know how many pairs were limited to this drop. I imagine there's probably a few thousand out there. Could be a little bit less. I really don't like that they don't label limited edition boots anymore, but that would probably make it even harder to get them. As for the price, I paid $270-ish. I think after shipping it was closer to $300, but I had a Gold Clubs rewards coupon, so luckily I was able to knock down some of the price, thankfully. Now, I don't know what reseller prices are because I've stopped checking. I just can't be asked anymore, to be honest. It looks like they're probably well over $400 or $500. At least for the Transforms. I've seen some crazy prices for the OG remake as well. So I wouldn't pay reseller prices, if I'm being honest. It's kind of a shame what they're doing to the market. If you can find a pair for $350, I would say that's probably your best bet. Maybe you can find them for $300, but I haven't seen any for $300. So you might just have to do some looking around, wait a couple more months on eBay for the prices to go down, but it kind of is what it is these days. And it's really frustrating because websites can't even handle these drops anymore. So many people are flooding to the websites to get them, and then the website crashes. So overall, should you buy the new Hypervenom remakes in general? I don't have the original pair because I was not gonna buy them or pay those prices, but I don't think you should buy them. I think you'd be better off getting some other retro pair on eBay for the same price. If you're gonna pay reseller prices, get something nice, like a pair of Vapor 11s. Those are actually all over the market right now. Get a pair of Vapor 10s, get, you know, whatever you really liked wearing. You know, if you are just in it for the Hypervenom, you love this boot, then go ahead. If you were able to snag them for what they retailed for, you know, great, but I just don't think you should pay retail or resale prices. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you have any questions. I'm looking to try to do at least a video a week right now. Hopefully they'll be posted on the weekends, and then if I can sneak a second one in there during the week, that's what I'll try to do. So that's the future going forward. thanks for watching the video.